What's going down, beautiful people? I'm Valet Delroy. This is Ride with the Valet. I'm glad you're with me one more time. Today, I wanted to talk to you about compromise, okay? Compromise. I am of the opinion, that we don't need to compromise, that you don't need to compromise, that compromise has done you less good than you've been taught it was supposed to do you, that compromise is one of the reasons why you're not as happy or fulfilled as you'd like to be, that compromise has led you to settle and give up more than you wanted to, or more than you've won in the back and forth of what's been going on with whatever you had to compromise with. So this is the idea that I'm laying out real quick. Hopefully you will hear me out on this, and I'm not trying to convince you that you shouldn't compromise, but I'm just telling you why I think compromising is no longer a good idea for you, if you're willing to hear it. All right, so let's get into it. I looked up a little definition of compromise. One time real quick. Hey, if you could, just go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe. I appreciate you being here, man. It really helps out the channel because I'm trying to grow it and do more engaging things and just move forward with this thing. You know what I'm saying? Much love. Peace out. Okay, so I want to actually go to that one time. If you don't mind me, because I don't want to get this whole thing out of whack. So let me just read. This is from Oxford. Okay, Oxford. Compromise. No, this is Merriam-Webster. I'm sorry. Settlement of differences by arbitration or by consent reached by mutual concessions. I want you to hold on to that word concessions too. I'm going to come back to that. Another definition, something intermediate between or blending qualities of two different things. A concession, or something derogatory or prejudicial. Okay. To come to an agreement by mutual concession, to find or follow a way between extremes, right? Now, when I looked up the word concession, since it had came up 2 times, I'm like, why do they keep using this word concession? A thing that is granted especially in response to demands. Something you concede. An action of conceding, granting, or yielding something. Okay? Yielding. Okay? Making way for. A gesture, especially a token one made in recognition of demand or prevailing standard. Concession is, and conceding is like giving up, okay? And so compromise is the idea of settling differences by 2 parties giving something up. I think that's just a horrible idea. And a lot of times we've been taught or told in our lives by parents, relatives, teachers, mentors, right, celebrities and things, that compromise is a way of life. That somehow by you compromising and giving up things that you want, have agreed to, or have not agreed to, that it's going to actually make you and your situation better, make you feel better, put you in a better place, and that you should be grateful to accept a compromise in your life, okay? To accept a compromise so that you could maybe get ahead or get over a hump or deter some kind of argument or difficulty, yeah? But that doesn't make sense, because that's just the same thing that's happening in your life already every day, that you are already seeking to overcome and make way for. Why should 2 people, 2 smart, intelligent adults who have made it through life so far, have to give up 2 things that they want in order to have something that they do want, or something that they can settle or agree upon, when they should just be able to put aside the things that they don't agree upon for the moment or can't come to an agreement on, and find the things that they do agree upon so that they can focus on success and not be worried about what they gave up or worried about what they don't have or are lacking or compromised for. Now, I think in the way that compromise is actually making sense is when you don't have control of what can happen, right? When two parties that are at odds need to come to an agreement in order to move forward, yeah? So let's say you're in a dispute over an item and both people are right at their extremes and they're not friends, they don't have no good intention for each other, yeah? There might need to be a mediator or somehow something that brings them into a compromise, right? That takes their focus off of the thing that's giving them conflict because they're in opposition, yeah? Or let's say two parties are at war and, not to give anybody any thoughts, but two parties are at war and they're trying to come to terms or agreements to end the conflict, end the war, end the bloodshed, in whatever problem is being had for whatever reason. They need to come to a compromise because both parties can just either lose, right? Or only one party is going to actually win. So either you both lose or only one wins when there's a compromise. You don't both win. You can both lose. And if you're smart, there should be a way for both of you to win, which is why I don't think you should compromise. People in their relationships compromise. They give up things that they want in their relationship. Ooh, don't get me started, okay? So, if you say yes to something, it should be yes. It shouldn't be yes, well, maybe, we'll see, I don't know. Because that don't make no sense. How can you already be compromising your own decision making, right? Now you're dealing with somebody who is already compromised. How do you come to terms, right, without losing because somebody doesn't actually know what they do or don't want? Why would somebody say no? And they say, well, maybe, sorta, we'll see. Just say no and stand by it. Just say yes and stand by it because that makes things easier. Yeah? Two people in a relationship will say, what should we have for dinner? I want chicken and I want pasta. And the idea is that, well, I don't want pasta and I don't want chicken. Okay? Well, let's compromise. Let's have chicken pasta. Let's both have something we don't want so we can both have something we do want. How about you just eat chicken and I just eat pasta? Why do we have to compromise, right, when we could have both just been happy with what we wanted? And for the sake of what? Are we doing this for the sake of simplicity, for the sake of time, money, of, what do we think we are losing or giving up in order to win for our compromise? Oftentimes, it's the mediocre thing that we're accepting, for something that we are supposed to have been standing by that isn't mediocre, which is why it's a principle or a decision or something that we're supposed to be able to stand by. Instead, we make compromises, and this is in life, in our jobs, in so many ways. And then as people get older, they begin to resent things. They begin to resent their family members. They begin to resent their friends. They begin to resent their work, resent the decisions they made in life, resent it all. They have a midlife crisis. They go out there and do something crazy. They resent the person they married because they were making all these compromises instead of being honest, instead of being truthful. Okay? Instead of deciding that that truth is better than peace, because truth can then lead to peace when we're being honest. Instead of choosing peace over truth, And then realizing that when the truth comes out, or when it's time to face the truth, or when the truth then at some point no longer wants to be put aside for the peace, that the peace will be disrupted. You can guarantee that anytime you choose peace over truth, that peace will become a disruptive moment. It will not remain peaceful. And why should we compromise ourselves for that moment? Maybe when we were younger and susceptible and we didn't really know, and people were telling us, yeah, you need to compromise in life, which really does young people a disservice. I don't want to really get into how we have been fed and how sometimes we feed young people ideas that we've been fed, or things that we've accepted just because it seems to be the status quo, because we're too afraid to explore what else could be, or take a stand to be exactly what we want it to be. Sometimes people are handicapped by the handicap of other people's. I once said in one of my songs, a generation of dreamers made a generation of sleepers. And what do I mean by that? You can have a generation of people who dream about what could be, and they're pushing and fighting for that in their generation. And they want the next generation or some generation after them to pick up that mantle, pick up that dream so much that they put them to sleep in order for them to be able to dream that dream. And that's weird. And that doesn't work. Okay? It doesn't work like that. Okay? Because they maybe had compromised and not fulfilled their dream. And now they compromise the next generation, okay, by trying to keep their old dream that was unfulfilled alive into something, into a place that it didn't need to overlap, or they hadn't realized had changed. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they spent their 40 years in the desert and they didn't realize. Is that a coyote or a wolf? Alright, I need to wrap this video up because I got cold stuff from the store that I need to get to the crib. Yeah, it's all together so I can keep it cold, but I just wanted to drop this thought on you that maybe I need to come back and do a part 2 so that I can be more clear about the compromise that we don't need to have in our lives. You are responsible for you and the things that you do and want to do, aspire to do, can and should do. It takes work, and it takes a little bit of grit. It takes some effort, and I'm not going to say it takes pain. What I'm going to say is that when you choose not to compromise, that's when you're choosing to care for yourself truly by being honest, okay, and accepting what comes with how you stand on what you want to, because it's that important to you, okay? And I would advise you out there to do this, because I've been caught up in compromised decisions that only I know I compromised, right? Because I was able to accept something that was lesser. I'm not saying it was bad, but then when I started to think on it and it bothered me, then it can become something bad, and then I had to let that go because it's in the past. Of course, I'm moving forward. I'm always living in forward motion. I'm always living to be known, not in a way of saying oh, I'm trying to be famous. Everybody come look at me. Let me tell you everything there is to know. But how will you know if I don't make it known? What exists in this world that isn't known? I mean, I'm sure there are some things, but whatever we discover, we make known. You know what I'm saying? And we seek those things out, and we want to be known a certain way. And a lot of times we don't take the initiative to be up front with exactly what the truth is about who we are and what we do and how we get down and all those things, yeah? I'm not saying don't be strategic in how we communicate to each other so that we can get ahead, but you know what I'm saying? Truth is better than peace, because the truth can get us to peace, okay? But peace and sacrificing truth is no good. don't sacrifice the truth, okay, for peace, because that's the same as also sacrificing the peace. It's just delaying the peace, okay. But if you sacrifice the immediate peace for the truth, you know what I'm saying? Sacrifice, and I'm not even going to say sacrifice the immediate peace, but what I'm saying is if you stand on the truth and elevate the truth over what you think will disrupt the peace, okay, at least when it's truth, a person can decide what to do with it. And when they're able to decide to do with something that isn't a lie or false or a compromise, that will bring them more peace in the interim, okay? And that way you can sacrifice the lie, okay? Sacrifice the lie for the truth in order to get to peace, okay? Don't sacrifice the truth, and don't sacrifice the peace. That's my word for you right now, because that was heavy on me. You're going to probably ask the question, well, don't you compromise with your wife or your family or your job, so-and-so. There probably are times when I, for lack of not being on my A game, might compromise. But that's not something I often do. No, it's not. And that's why I'm communicating this to y'all, because I've been better off every time I have not compromised. Every time I chose to just go with the truth over peace, and that's brought peace to the situation. So yeah, but no, I don't be compromising. No, that don't really be happening like that. I've kind of come out of that mode, and it's been better for me, and I think it might be better for somebody out there who's watching. Okay, much love to you. You could take what's in your mind, turn it into something that's tangible, valuable, that you could use for yourself and others that would be beneficial. Okay, all you have to do is believe, be willing, and get to work. Okay, much love to you. Much love to you out there. Hey, look, living to be known. Living in forward motion. These are living in forward motion. I got the hoodies. I got the living to be known fanny packs. You know what I'm saying? I got beanies. I got hats. Say 4 words. Oh, go check out my website. I'll put a link in the description. Much love to y'all.